Hello, everyone. Welcome to this newly rebranded podcast where I chat to very special people about their stories and their journeys through life and their challenges and basically telling their life story. So, yeah, telling their life story. Welcome along to this new podcast. And it may turn up as a radio show, Ben Lister in conversation. So let's carry on over the coming weeks. I have some cracking guests for you, but let's carry on. This week we have a corker of a guest. Shall we meet my first guest of the series, shall we, in conversation? It is broadcaster, and he's from East Yorkshire, and I forgot to turn the Facebook Live on. Sorry. His name is Alex Dunn. Hello, Alex. Welcome along.
Thank you, Ben. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
That's good. That's good. Thanks for joining me today.
No, thank you for asking me, to be honest. Yeah, it's great.
That's good. 6 questions await you today about your career in, well, audio, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it may end up with a bit of radio as well. So, yeah, shall we? Are you ready to rumble in the jungle?
Yep, let's rumble.
Shall we begin?
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go for it. Question 1. Where did you start your broadcast journey?
Oh gosh. It was a long time ago now. So I was about 15, 14, 15, maybe even slightly younger. And I found myself sort of helping out, volunteering at a station in West Hull called WHCR. And then one day it was kind of thrown on me. It was kind of like, oh, we need someone to go on air this afternoon. Could you maybe do it? And I was like, okay, sure. Because I mean, I didn't have the interest to be on radio at first. It was just kind of a thing that I was in. And then I did one show. They asked me to do one the next day. And because this was like during the holidays, and then I got a weekly show, and that kind of just started my journey and started my kind of flow into radio, and then what became an obsession basically, and then it just, yeah, as you said, the rest is history.
Yeah, and what's your fit? Yeah, we'll come on to that later on. That's brilliant. Yeah, and now and up until recently, you were obviously on Beverly FM as well. How did you find being the head honcho at breakfast on Beverly FM?
I mean, it was great. It was, again, that was kind of a thing. So I got onto Beverly FM when it launched in 2015, because Dave Fewster, the boss, was just like, can you come over? Can you join us from WHCR? Because I knew him from WHCR. So he got me there, and he did the breakfast show. Some may know Dave from, he was the first breakfast presenter on Viking Radio when it launched, and he's done all these things. So he did the breakfast show. And then it got to a point where he asked me to cover for him on the breakfast show when he was off ill. And then, yeah, in September 2017, I started it myself, which was great. It was great to do for, 3 years. Obviously, it's tiring work. Anyone you speak to who's done breakfast radio, and I know you've interviewed people like Hirsty, and they all say, it's great fun. It's tiring, but it is great fun. And yeah, I really did enjoy doing the breakfast show.
Brilliant. And you also work with legends from Viking. Also, you mentioned Neil Rudd, I think. If I'm wrong, Neil Rudd.
Neil Rudd was there. Yep.
Tim
People from
Gibson.
Radio Humberside that have come over. Yeah.
Tim Gibson.
Yeah, all of those people. Yeah, Steve Redgrave came as well. So he's now there at Beverly FM.
And still does the occasional bit for Humberside.
Some of them do the odd bit, yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And now we'll move on to question 2. Who were your early inspirations when you were starting out?
Do you know what? The people that I was kind of looking up to were the people that I sort of wanted to be like when I really started discovering radio and what I wanted to do, which is the people like Stephannie Hirst, with Capital Breakfast was massive, and that show was kind of wacky and fun, and it was kind of that. And then a little bit like later on in the years when I started the breakfast show, it's kind of around the same time ish. I think Greg James started Radio One Breakfast just before me, and listening to him again, that sort of wackiness is what I looked up to and wanted to put. I didn't want to be like a serious broadcaster in that sense. I wanted to cover the news. I wanted to do what I needed to do, but have that bit of fun. So it's those kind of people that kind of inspired me, to be honest. Yeah.
And you're also forgetting Stephanie Hurst's best friend, also Mr. Miles, who was also on Radio 1 and now is on Radio X and also recently
And
in the jungle.
yeah, yeah, and I listen to him on Radio X a lot at the moment. Yeah, I've been doing it quite a fair bit in my mornings on my drive to work, because I do enjoy that. I found myself enjoying more and more of the chatter and the talking on the radio than I have the music recently, because I just think like the presenters and the talent is actually quite good. Yeah.
Yeah, because him and his team of Dom, Pippa, and the others, and
Yeah.
the team remind me of. You may be too young to remember this, or you might have heard of it through audio archives. The Chris Tarrant lineup, Tarrant and Co. on Capital Radio back in the day.
That's the thing, and like that's the kind of radio that I still think is great. Obviously, there's less of it now, with for various different reasons, but that back then is similar to what like Moyles is doing now, and there's still like elements in other shows that people are putting in, like Kirsty's Daily Dose was. That kind of bit of fun, I think, is that's what I enjoy to listen to anyway.
Yeah, and also, and also, them people rewrote the radio, as they said, as someone said in the podcast when they did it with Steve Jordan a few months ago, as my friend Luke said. Chris Tarrant something like rewrote the radio, as Steve Jordan said, sorry, rewrote the radio rulebook by playing the Eagles and stuff, and went on into his latter twilight years, if you get what I mean.
That's what I mean, absolutely. And it's like there shouldn't be many rules around what you can do in that sense. I think just go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like broadcasters rewriting the radio rule book, because rules, it's a bit like other people as well, yeah. And also my favorite broadcaster obviously is Stephannie Hirst, and also I also like Neil Fox as well. I have a lot of respect for Foxy.
Yeah.
And yeah, and there's a lot of brilliant presenters locally as well. We'll move on to question 3 now. What is your favorite part about the job?
Obviously, I mean, you've spoken to many people who all say something along the same lines, and it is that freedom to talk to the listener, and to have that kind of banter that's almost one-on-one with them. And that kind of thing is just so unique to have in radio that you don't get in something like TV. I think that's really fun. And then the perks that come along the side of it. So like hosting events, going out, meeting people, and doing things like that is kind of like a perk, because you're kind of stuck in a radio studio doing your show. And then when you can go out and you can do these things, it's like a nice little perk to be able to do it. Yeah.
Brilliant. We'll move on to question 4, because time may not be on our side. What is your greatest achievement so far?
Do you know what? I think when I look back, and I don't want to get too into all of this stuff, but when I look back 10 years to when I was in school, secondary school, and just comparing myself then to comparing myself now, and seeing how much I've progressed and how much I can sort of deal with certain things, I kind of see that as an achievement in itself. I've struggled with my mental health and I've had all the issues and still up until recently. but certain things getting through and improvement. And I think for me, that's kind of like a self-achievement that, I'm still here and I've done a lot and hopefully will do a lot more.
Brilliant. And now we'll move on to question 3. How has the last 3 years affected your life and line of work?
A lot. So, I mean, the last 3 years is pretty much like the breakfast show time. So it changed everything because I was more of a night person. I became an early morning person. I had to sort of be up and out and doing those things, which for someone who struggled with the mental health, by the way, can I just say that I was really happy to be doing the breakfast show because it got me up so early in the morning and got me like showered, dressed, and did all of that stuff that it kind of set me up for the day. So just doing that was kind of like a big thing for that. And then, yeah, just kind of progressing. It got me extra gigs on the side. I did extra things. I did things that I wouldn't have been able to do if I wasn't doing the breakfast show, to be honest.
Brilliant. And my last question on the list is, what advice would you give to young, aspiring broadcasters, people who want to follow in Alex Dunn's footsteps? What is Alex Dunn's word of advice?
I would say just go for it. If you're interested in something, I say look into it, study it, and go for it. I never had any like training or anything. This is something that I look back on and people say, oh, did you do this? Did you do that? No one ever really trained me. I just kind of trained myself and then I had little tips along the way from different people. But whereas some people might be like, oh, go in and have like a 6-week course or something. It wasn't like that. So you got to do your own kind of research, find out who you are as a person, who you want to be as a broadcaster. Don't try and copy someone else because that person already exists. And yeah, I'm going to finish on something that you will know that Hirsty says, which is believe, achieve, because I do believe in the whole law of attraction thing. And if you do dream of something, if you believe it'll happen, then yeah, it can happen.
Brilliant. Please don't sue me, Stephannie Hirst.
Can I just like, I am saying that is Stephanie Hurst's words, not mine. But I do believe in it.
Yep. Radio icon in her own right.
Absolutely.
Still going strong. That's
Yeah.
that's it for today. Do join me again soon for another podcast. But a big thank you to my special guest today, Mr. Alex Dunn.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. And that all that's left to say is, for now, that's a wrap and back to the studio.